Shalom everybody, Chodesh Tov, welcome back to Breslov Insights in the Parsha of the Week, Parshat Vayikra. We now are in the first week of Nisan. Okay, this Parsha, Vayikra, is very interesting in that it starts with all types of optional sacrifices and offerings. And because of that, almost every section starts off with the word Ve'im. And if his offering is this type, and here are the laws. And if, and all the and ifs are related to korbanot nedava, gift offerings, a voluntary offering that a person would want to offer to the temple. If it was an animal, if it was a meal offering. Now, amongst them, we get to chapter 2, verse 14, which is the end of the third aliyah. It goes into the Omer offering. And it starts the same way. Let's take a look at this verse. Chapter 2, verse 14. Ve'im takriv minchat bikurim lashem. And if now you will offer a initial minchat bikurim, it has a meal offering to it. It has also animals connected to it. If the meal offering is an initial offering to Hashem, Rashi on the spot points out like this: Ve'im takriv, and if you offer, Rashi says clearly, Hare'im mishamesh bilshon ki. Here we don't translate ve'im like all the previous paragraphs in the parsha up to this verse, where it said, and if his offering is like this, and if. No, here it's mishamesh bilshon ki. Ki here, normally ki translates if. You can't write if here, so if is and when. Right, vichi, and when you will, and im is if, ki is when. It's like the reason is. It doesn't translate as if. Sorry, it translates as and ki when the time comes for this to happen. Even though literally ki is because the reason is for this is the reason, but here it's in context of when you'll offer. Okay, so Rashi's pointing out, don't translate the ve'im and if you offer as another time. Rather, now it takes on a different translation. Why does he say that? Because here it's not an option. Sharei en zereshut. This offering that it's discussing here in verse 14 is not an option out of a thanksgiving or a good-heartedness offering that a person wants to give, the meal offerings or an animal offering or a bird offering. It's not now optional reshut. Sharei beminchat haomer katuv medaber shei chova. Because this parsha here, verse 14, 15, 16, are talking about the minchat haomer, the meal offering offered with the omer, which is an obligation. Let's recap about this minchat haomer. Minchat haomer took place on the second night of Pesach. Okay, the first night of Pesach in Israel is Yom Tov. That's Pesach, the Haggadah, etc. What we do, the Korban Pesach was eaten on the first night of Pesach. Second night, which in Israel is already the first night of Chol HaMoed, but it's the second night of Pesach, when we start the Sfirat HaOmer countdown, that's when this offering was offered, okay? And what was it constituted from? From barley, seorim, as opposed to chita, which is all the other meal offerings mentioned in this parsha were from very refined, sifted flour, wheat flour, okay? Solet, all these types of high quality wheat flour offerings, meal offerings. This one was minchat seorim, barley. Barley, even though it's fit for human consumption, but it's because of it's a lesser grade of wheat, of a type of a wheat stock. It's more reserved for animals. Barley is more of an animal food as opposed to a human. Even though humans do consume it, some say it might be healthier, whatever. But in context of what produce works in the world, animal products used to be consumed. The barley used to go towards the animals mainly. Today may be different, but at the time of the Torah, of the Chumash and everything, barley is considered an animal consumption because the humans will eat wheat. It's much more refined, much more better, tastier, etc., whatever. Okay, so it's an animal type of grain, okay? It came together with obviously a sacrifice. That was offered on the second night of Pesach. The Mishnayot say that it was done with a lot of excitement. People would go down to the field that was reserved, set aside that the barley stalks would be cut. They made a big esek, the Mishnah says, a lot of noise and tumult, and people would come to see the event of the preparation of the Korban Omer, the meal offering. They would go to this field not far from the Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. They would already cut the stalks that were already prepared before Yom Tov. They would already make like a little straw rope tying the stalks, so it'd be easily readily available to cut. Then they'd bring them to the temple courtyard, and they would the Kohanim or those involved would separate the grains of the barley from the stalks, and then they would grind it in a way that they separated in the chaff from the actual grain, and then they would sift it further until they finally came to the amount needed for the barley offering. Okay, mix of olive oil, etc. Fine, and then from that first night, they would also start counting the Sphira countdown. The Sphira countdown would reach the 50th day, which was 50 days later, being Shavuot, the Chag of Shavuot. Okay, with the barley offering every night. There's a mitzvah till today, even though we don't have the barley offering actually happening, but the Sphira countdown still takes place. We count the first day to the Omer, on the simple level, to when the Omer offering was offered on the second night of Pesach. So we count down. So on the second night, which is like the third day of Pesach, the third night, they say today is the second day to the Omer. The Omer being this offering. It's called the Omer. The Omer because the term Omer is also a unit of an Omer is also a type of a unit of what was used to make this offering. Okay, so this is the countdown. Okay, we count down 10, 20, 30, 40 until the 49th night, which is the night before Shavuot, and that's the last night, and they count down the 49th day to the Omer, going backwards to the second night of Pesach and counting the countdown to what was initially offered. What's strange is you would think the countdown is for what's coming up, Shavuot, but no, the countdown is going backwards to what was started initially. I'm counting down 49 days since the Omer was offered. So it's to the Omer. We say the Bracha Baruch Hashem, Al Sfrat Omer, the countdown of the Omer. Today's 49 days, 48 days, 46, whatever day it is, to the Omer, which was backwards. And we don't count, I'm counting towards Shavuot. Because the goal of the Korban Omer was to count down to get to Shavuot. But what's strange is we're counting backwards. So what's going on here? On a deeper level, what is going on here? Shavuot is considered the highest of the three festivals. It's considered the crown, the Keter, the receiving of the Torah, where the Jews were exposed, in a sense, full force to Hashem's infinite light. That's why the Midrash says they all passed out when they first heard the first two commandments of the 10 commandments, Anochi Hashem Elokecha and Lo Yelecha Elokim Achrim Al Panai. The Jews passed out. The neshama couldn't handle it. There was a separation of their finite existence to their infinite light of their souls. It just took off. Parchan nishmatam, the Gemara says. The Midrash says that their souls took off. They couldn't handle the intensity of the experience. But they were brought back. The angels put them back in, etc. But it is an experience back then of receiving the Torah. Until today, every Jew, commensurate to what he does in life, his closeness to tzaddikim, his closeness to the Torah, his devotion, and whatever, all the factors involved, that determines how much he receives light on Shavuot, and the light of the Keter, which contains what's called the infinite light, which shines into his daily living and shines light and hope and simcha and meaning, etc. Okay? So it makes sense that the countdown should go towards there. But we go backwards. Let's take a look, first of all. The night before Pesach, by every Jew in the world, we're also given a taste of a high-level light that's not available on any other night of the year, the light of Pesach. But by the morning, it begins to ebb until by the end of the first day of Pesach, that light experience from the night before is totally ebbed, totally taken away. On a joking level, because we drink 4 cups of wine on the night of Pesach, so the hangover effect is so strong that by the next day, we're finished. We don't have any more capacity for this big light because of the 4 cups of wine. But on a practical level, again, like the Zohar explains and the Arizal, a big, big light shines. But this light on the first night of Pesach is just a foretaste. It's a taste of an experience above a person's true level. And because of that, it's only temporarily. It's only one night. And even then, by passing. And then on the next day of the first day of Yom Tov, during the daytime, it slowly ebbs. Okay? It's taken away. This is why we say a full Hallel on the first day of Pesach, but then afterwards the Hallel is broken down because we have an intense light on the first night and continuing into the first day, but ebbing of that light, and then by the second night of Pesach, it's totally taken away. What's the case there? What's the purpose here? How it plays a part in the picture is that our goal is to reclaim that light, but internalized. By the yearning and waiting period of the 49 days of the Sfirat Omer, leading to the 50th day, which is Shavuot, so we're expected by that countdown and yearning and working on bettering ourselves and being better people after experiencing the light by passing of the first night of Pesach, it's expected that we can actually actualize something and internalize it on the night on Shavuot. Okay, this is why we offer the Korban Omer on the second night and we start the countdown. Okay, but like the question that we asked earlier, the countdown should be towards Shavuot. Why are we counting backwards? Why are we going backwards? So Rebbe Nachman teaches, this is lesson 24, again, 24, Rebbe Nachman talks about the concept of the betisha, that when a person is seeking to advance in life, seeking to connect to Hashem's infinite light, to shine sustenance and nourishment and light and hope in his life, the only way to get it is that a person is pushed back. He has setbacks. He has difficulties. He has obstacles. He has frustrations, confusions, doesn't know what's happening. It's specifically then that Hashem sends a person the light he needs. Because it has to come when the person is not there, when the person is like shaken, taken aback, upside down. That's when Hashem shines this light. The thing is, you're so upside down, you have no idea sometimes what's happening. And you lose perspective. It's then that Hashem is shining a person this light. And the key is, when going through what he's going through in these setbacks, not to give up. Not to give in, not to give up, and to have some modicum of minimal emunah, faith, and hope that things are just preparation for something bigger in life. And that's why things are so upside down. When a person is trying to do good, and then he has these setbacks, and he wonders, Hashem, I'm just wasting my time. I'm wasting my life. All my prayers, where did they go? Look what's happening to me. It's just getting worse. And the answer is, it's not getting worse. This is preparing vessels for you to receive light. And that's the only way, is having this setback. Why? Because a person who's finite cannot contain infinite light. It can't be two opposites. So what to do? A person gets pushed back. A good person gets pushed back. And in the setback, that's how he is able to receive this beautiful light. Okay? So, with that in mind, we count to the Omer. Why do we count to the Omer? Because the only way to receive the light of Shavuot is that we feel set back, pushed back. What is the offering of the Omer? It's animal food. What's the idea? That a person in his countdown to come closer to Hashem, to come closer to spirituality, he feels so much like an animal. He feels so frustrated and confused. He doesn't know where he's holding because the setbacks push him off so much that he doesn't know anymore, am I on the right path? Am I at all doing the right thing? He is so frustrated, and it's specifically supposed to be that way. So we count backwards to the Omer. I'm counting down, but to backwards. Today, second day to the Omer. Third day, count towards Shavuot. No, I count to the animal offering because I feel like an animal. I feel like I don't know where I'm going. There's no dot, there's no understanding. This is hinted to what Rashi is saying. Ve'im takriv minchat bikurim, and if you offer the meal offering of the bikurim, the first, it's called bikurim by the way, because it was the first offering from the new produce of barley, from the new stalks of that year. And this allowed all barley to be used, to be eaten. You have to offer what's called the first, the chadash, the new produce in the world, was dependent on this offering being offered on the second night of Pesach. It allowed for all barley offerings to be, barley products to be eaten. And on Shavuot, when 2 loaves of wheat chametz bread were offered in the temple, that allowed all wheat products to be eaten in the world, okay? Chadash it's called. till today exists, the laws of Chadash. Some say only in Israel, some say also in the diaspora. That's another topic of Hilchot Chadash. You can take a look in section Yeridah of the Shulchan Aruch. In any event, it's called Bikurim, and it's the first of the barley offering. So what did Rashi say? Ve'im, here you would think, and if you offer, why saying if? The question is like this. Until now, all the other offerings start with the word ve'im because they're optional. And Rashi had to go out of his way and say the im here doesn't mean and if, it means and when you will bring this offering. So the question is, why not Mr. Torah? Hashem, say v'chi takriv minchat. Just say it then. Say clearly. If now ve'im and if really translates as and when you will offer, so say that. Right in the Chumash, in the Torah, v'chi takriv minchat bikurim, and when you will give you will bring the meal offering for the Sfirata Omer. Why say again ve'im? Just say if you say, oh, here Rashi is saying here the ve'im doesn't really mean and if, it means when. Okay, so be honest, be straightforward. Why do I have to have a drasha from the Gemara that explains, Rashi's quoting the Gemara, that the ve'im here really means and when, doesn't mean if. Just say when. That's the answer itself. That it's so confusing, frustrating. The energy of this Korban is to prepare you for Shavuot. But the preparation is specifically that you have no idea what's flying in life, that you're frustrated. So it's ve'im, it's if, even though we say, and it is, no, it's going to happen. And when you give the meal offering, but we write in the Torah, and if. Why if? Because the person is so befuddled by what he's going through, he doesn't know anymore what's right, what's wrong. If he's advancing, if he's not advancing, he's frustrated. And so even the obligatory korban, he sees it as ve'im. I see it as if. I see I'm going backwards. I thought I'm advancing in life, and I see going backwards. So the Torah is telling us the ve'im that you see, the if, maybe, yes, I don't know what's happening. It's really vechi, and when. It's not an and if, which is optional, like, maybe yes, maybe no. It's a vechi. Why is written ve'im? Because that's the dress up, the act of this korban. It makes you feel like you're not advancing because you're counting backwards. 8 days to when I offered the Korban Omer. 9 days when I offered. Why am I counting backwards? Because I feel backwards. I feel like an animal. I feel like I'm not advancing. There's no change. And dafka, that's the preparation. That's how this Korban has to be offered. With you feeling backwards, but the Torah is saying, but you really are advancing. That's how it is in life. When you want to reach a level of Shavuot, of the Keter, of a big breakthrough in your life, the way it appears, the way it presents itself in a person's life is that he feels totally backwards. That's the idea of the ve'im, which is really vechi. And the Torah is saying, don't read it, don't think it's ve'im if. I'm iffy. You read it as vechi, and when it happens. Because that's what the truth. The real truth is that it's vechi, and when it happens. So why am I experiencing ve'if? Like iffy? Because that's how the setup is. This is the only way you can receive the light while in a finite existence. Shabbat Shalom and Chodesh Tov, and may we incorporate these ideas in our life.